babes, and welcome to my book nook. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I teach music and I also love reading all types of books, mainly thriller and horror, but I've gotten a lot more into like dark romance lately. I read fantasy, nonfiction, all the things. So if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe. It really does help my channel grow. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a very lengthy book haul of all the books that I accumulated basically around Christmas time. So it's for gifts that I've gotten for myself, gifts that I've gotten from others, also book of the month. I count that as a haul because it was a very special month in December. I got 4 books and only paid for 1. You'll see why in a minute. And it's fabulous. It's a fabulous time. I have 42 books to share with you. 42 books. I'm not going to really give descriptions of each one, or we're going to be here for 5 million years, but I'm just going to categorize them by like genre. We'll go through them, see what I got to add to my beautiful stack, because I'm ready to put them away, and I can't put them away till I film this. So it's time to film this. You feel me? And with that being said, let's dive into my book haul. We're going to start with nonfiction / memoirs, because I actually have 5 of those to share, and I don't like collect those. They all just kind of were sprung upon me. So my friend actually was giving away a bunch of books because she was moving, and I wanted this one, so I asked for it. And it's How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. I actually am very interested in reading this because I obviously don't want to be racist, even if I am Hispanic. Like, I can have my own impartial biases and stuff. And I love that the main quote is, "The only way to undo racism is to consistently identify and describe it and then dismantle it." So I'm very excited to get to this. And then for a secret Santa that we did with my circus studio, the person that got me, my circus boss, bought me 2 nonfictions that she thought I would enjoy. So she got me Jewel's autobiography called Jewel Never Broken. Songs Are Only Half the Story. And I actually really love Jewel, so I have a feeling, I can't talk, that this will actually be really good. And then she also got me the Pop, Rock, and Soul Reader, Histories and Debates, 3rd edition. And so it's basically just a bunch of, like, facts and interviews and all the stuff about, like, popular rock and pop bands. And I've actually been, like, looking through it, and it's pretty interesting. Like, there was a part about Elvis in here. This is a section on psychedelic rock, and it has annotations and footnotes and, like, all of the fun things. And then for myself, my mother-in-law bought me for Christmas Viola Davis's memoir, Finding Me. I had this on my Amazon wish list. I really wanted it. I love her so much. She's an amazing actress, and just her story is so inspiring. And so I definitely want to get to this memoir this year. And then for my mom, I asked for I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I have been wanting this book, and I really didn't want to read it until I had it physically, and it was selling out everywhere for a long time. And so I finally just asked my mom for it for Christmas. I'm probably going to read this within the next month because, like, now that I have it, I have to read it. Okay, my son just entered the room, and you might hear his show, and that is what that is. Okay, the next 2 is 2 mystery books that I have. They didn't really constitute as thrillers, so I put them as mystery. And the first one would be Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. My friend Neva really loved this book, and I've heard it has the same cozy mystery qualities as Finlay Donovan, and I love me some Finlay, so I'm definitely planning on getting to this soon. And then I also picked up, and I only heard about this last week, and then I saw it in the bookstore from Riley because I joined Riley Marie's Patreon, Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. It is basically Jane Eyre if she was a serial killer like Dexter, and that really intrigued me and spoke to me, so I cannot wait to get to this. I'm going through like my smaller stacks first. Then we'll go to the 2 YA books that I got. I don't really collect YA anymore. In fact, I unhauled a bunch of YA the other day because I'm trying not to buy YA anymore, but I couldn't resist. Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. First off, this cover is gorgeous. Second off, I loved Weight of Blood so much that I wanted to read the rest of her backlist because, like, I feel like I really love her writing, and so I figured that could definitely be something I could get into. And then also because everybody and their mother is talking about this, and it was literally $3 at the thrift store, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I do want to read this series. I've heard that it could be good. If I don't love it, then I won't move on with the series, hence why I only bought the first one, and I could only find the first one on sale. But I figure for $3, not like an epic fail if I hate it. Then we have what I would consider like contemporary / historical fiction. I don't collect that very often either. The first one I got is, I say Una, but I've heard it's Juana, so I don't know. I'm going to say Una. Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. I picked this up solely because Haley Hughes is obsessed with this book, and she said read it, and when she tells you to read a book, you read a book. And especially since she's like a thriller person, if she's saying to read something that's not thriller, I'm definitely intrigued. Then I picked up Our Last Days in Barcelona by Chanel Clayton. This is like a historical fiction about like series about like this family from Cuba and immigration and all of whatnot. And there are 5 books in the series, and I own books 1, 2, 3, and now 5. I need to get 4. Do I know if I'm even going to love these? No. But my one friend Becca in the teacher world is obsessed with these books. This is like her favorite author ever, and so I'm definitely willing to give them a try. And then for my book of the month box, which let's just talk about that really quick. It was a really good month, and I got 4 books, and I only paid for 1 because I got 1 book because it was the book of the year. And I picked that one. It was the only one out of the 5 books that I didn't have. So I picked the book of the year, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then someone signed up for book of the month using my code, and so I got a free book because of that. So that was my second book. And then I had a credit already. I technically paid for that, but I already had the credit. So like I count that as free. And then I just did 1 additional add-on because you're allowed to do 2 add-ons. So I got 4 books for the price of 1. Pretty awesome. And so the book that was in the contemporary one, that was book of the year, is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I have no idea if I'm going to like this or not because some people say it's the best book ever, considering it won Goodreads Choice Awards and it also won book of the month for book of the year. But then other people say that it is a slog and that it's awful and it's boring. So I don't really know where I'm going to stand in this debate of this book, but it's a very beautiful cover. I'm not going to lie. I'm very intrigued by it, and I will get to it next year because I do have to know what all the hype and hustle and bustle is about. Then let's move on to fantasy, and I don't really know if I would constitute this first book as fantasy, but I didn't really know where else to put it. And yes, Bubby. And that would be Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I've been wanting to read this for forever. I actually got this from a friend. I got it from my friend Brittany, and I was not expecting her to like send me books for Christmas, and it was very sweet of her, and I love her very much, and I'm very happy that I got to this, or I'm getting to this. And yeah, I love keeping the Amazon things that say who they're from, so that I always remember, and I'm very excited to get to this soon. Then I also picked this up because of Riley Marie. I like binged a bunch of her videos, and then I just happened to go in the store, and a bunch of the books she had talked about were there, and maybe I wouldn't have noticed them before had I not just binged all her videos. This is more sci-fi-y. The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. She also wrote The Death of Jane Lawrence, and I haven't read that yet, but it's on my shelf. And this is a psychological thriller and a gripping survival story in which a caver on a foreign planet finds herself on a terrifying psychological and emotional journey for survival. And I don't know, that intrigues me, so we'll see where it goes. Then I bought for myself Tricky Magic by L.L. Campbell. This is a book that was inspired by my friend Chantel from Nell's Novels. I put this on my 23 books for 2023, so I had to buy it. I think it's a beautiful cover. It's about a witch, there's romance, fantasy, all of the things, so I definitely cannot wait to get to this book. Then I finally picked up also for myself Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I have been wanting to read this. I think it is so cute and cozy. I would describe this as a cozy fantasy, or I've heard it as a cozy fantasy. I'm actually reading this with my besties book club sometime next year, and you're hearing that early, but sorry. Anyway, we're reading this at some point, but I'm not going to tell you when yet, so be excited for that. And then the last book, this was one of the books that I got with my Book of the Month box for December, is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This book is a chunker. Literally, it is 500, it's like 40 pages. I do plan on reading it eventually. I have not read the Poppy War series. I don't own the Poppy War series. I want to get to that, but I might read this first just because I already have it. But I'm very excited to get to it, but I don't actually know when because, like I said, it's a chunker. Then we're going to go into like contemporary / more traditionally published romance, and then we'll get to my dark romance haul. And I would count, the first one would be, I bought this for myself the other day, Astrid Parker Doesn't Fall, with a gift card that I got from a student at my school. This is by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the sequel to Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which I loved. It was in my top 10 books of the year, my favorite romance of the year, so I'm sure I'm going to love this one as well. And this just follows other characters, Astrid from the first book, and it's her romance. And I am just so excited for this. Like I said, Ashley Herring Blake has a way with her romances, and they are spicy and steamy and sweet, and I cannot wait for this. Then at the thrift store the other day, my bookstore was having a buy 5 get 5 free, so I got a couple of books there, and this was one of the books that I snatched up for like $2, and it was Elle Kennedy's The Mistake. It's book 2 in the Off-Campus series, which I only have the first one, The Deal, so I am collecting them slowly but surely, which I didn't even realize this was book 2 when I bought it. I just grabbed it because it was $2, and I figured I'd get the rest of them later, and then it worked out that it was book number 2, and so it's not like book number 4. That would annoy me, but I am excited to get to this at some point. And my mother-in-law got me a couple of books at Christmas, and this is the second book she got me. She got me Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. She picked it because of the cover. I forgot this was even on there. I actually deleted a bunch of Coho books off of my list, my wish list, after she bought me this, because I don't know when I plan on reading this, but I'm going to, because it was bought for me, and I will read books that are bought for me. Then for myself, though, I did pick this Coho book up, but it's one of her more popular ones, and I do have plans on reading this at some point, and that is Ugly Love. I picked this up in the 5 for $5 deal at my Second and Charles bookstore. I don't really know what this is about. I just know it's one of her most popular ones, and so I figured I would give it a try. It was like $4. Then I asked my mom for this book because I want to collect all of them, but they're pretty pricey. They're like $25 for the paperback, and there's 4 of them now, and I only have the first 2. And it's the sequel. Well, it's not even the sequel to Magnolia Parks. It's like a series within that series, like sub-genre, sub-world. I got Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. First off, let's just admire this cover, because I think it is beautiful. Second, I really need to prioritize this series because I want to read Magnolia Parks, like, really badly, so I need to get to it. So I'm very excited to read this. This is probably one of the most excited books that I opened on Christmas Day. Then I found this at the 5 for $5 sale, and that was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I probably would never have bought this. Maybe I would have gotten it through Book of the Month, but since it was like $5, you can't really pass it up. I have a couple other books by her. I plan on maybe doing an author taste test for her, but we'll see where that takes us. And then this was a book that I got in the Book of the Month box, and I need to read it because it is actually the seasonal book club pick for Kayla from Books and Lala's membership, channel membership, and that is Kiss Her Once For Me by Allison Cochran. I have heard nothing but fantastic things about this book. I cannot wait to read it. It is a sapphic romance about a girl that ends up having to have a fake marriage / relationship with this guy, and then when she goes to visit his family, she falls in love with his sister. I'm pretty sure, something to that effect. I cannot wait to read this. Like I said, I haven't heard one bad review for it yet. Now we're moving into the more taboo side of things, my dark romance book haul. And the first one I got is in the 5 for $5 deal, Her Soul for Revenge by Harley LaRue. This is a duology. The first one is Her Soul to Take, and I don't actually own that. But this was $3 at the bookstore, and I was surprised it was at the bookstore because I hardly ever find dark romance at the bookstore. So I figured I'd buy it because I know I'm going to like this series because I trust Riley Marie and the other dark romance booktubers that have said this is good. So I figured I would just pick it up anyway. And also at the bookstore, which I cannot believe this was there, I was literally about to buy this on Pango, is Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. This is the first book in the 4 Horsemen series. I think the other ones are War, Famine, and Death. And it says, they came to Earth, pestilence, war, famine, and death. 4 horsemen riding their screaming steeds racing to the corners of the world. 4 horsemen with the power to destroy all of humanity. They came to Earth, and they came to end us all. And I cannot wait to get to this next year. Next book I've heard is straight up smut, but when it was only $5 at the thrift store, I figured I'd buy it because I want to know for myself. And that is Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. I've literally heard this is just straight smut, 600 something pages of straight smut. So I don't know if it's going to be for me or not. It's reverse harem-y, I believe. We just going to try it. Okay? Okay. Then I finally got from my mom, she bought me all 3 of these books, different Christmases. So it's taken 3 years to get the set. The Finish Line by Kate Stewart. So my Ravenhood trilogy is finally completed, and I cannot wait. I didn't want to read the book until I had all of them on deck because I've heard that you just binge through them and that they're very sad and heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. And so now that I have them all, I can finally read them. Coming soon. Then I am also collecting all of Rue Nix's books. I have got the Kana. I have a special edition got the Kana box coming away at some point. And then I have the first book in the Dark Verse series. I have The Predator, and I got for Christmas for my mom the second book, which is The Reaper. I'm not entirely sure what this series is about. I believe there is dark romance in this, and if it's not, then it's just fantasy. But I'm excited for it nonetheless. And then the last book, and this is very controversial, and if Haley was watching my video right now, she would be very ashamed that I bought this because she hated it so much. I got Credence by Penelope Douglas. I know this is a scandal. I know this is taboo. I know what this is about. I've heard the trope, the woman with her stepfather, even though they're not actually related and all this stuff. But I don't know. I just want to see for myself. I want to understand the hype. I haven't read a Penelope Douglas yet, so I'm intrigued. Let's just see what this is all about. And then the last 2 books that I got in my dark romance haul are not actually here. I bought them off of Pango Books. And I bought the first 2 books in the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark, which is a mafia romance. I was going to try and start reading that. So I got The Brutal Prince and I got The Stolen Heir. And I wanted the covers with the hot men on the covers because the new cover is the one with the strawberry. I'll show it first. Here's the hot men one. And then here's the ugly strawberry weird one. Like, those are not attractive to me. I do not like those covers. I know some people like them. I don't like them. But the first two books are no longer available with the hot men, at least not on Amazon or anywhere that I looked. You can still buy like the third through the sixth book like that, but not the first two. So I lucked out and I found The Brutal Prince. There was one copy on there the other day, and it was a little pricey. It was like 20 bucks, but I was like, okay, whatever. Then I looked for The Stolen Heir and it wasn't there, and I was very sad. And then I looked the next day and someone had just posted it, and you better believe I snagged it. I wish I had looked at their store prior though, because they also had The Brutal Prince and they were both 15. And so I spent one at one and one at the other. I could have just gotten them together, but it's fine. Not the end of the world, but I secured them, and so I'm going to make sure that I collect books 3 through 6 sooner than later so that they don't take them away from me. And then my last little stack is thriller and horror, which is always my biggest stack. The one book that I don't actually have with me physically is Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach. I actually bought that based off of Haley's recommendations because she loved that book, and I got it off Pango for $6, and it was a steal of a deal. So I'm definitely going to read that one super soon. And then I got this one from my friend who was moving, who gave me that How to Be an Anti-Racist one. I got My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyin Braithwaite. That's probably very, very wrong. I love like this little pocket cover sized book. I'm very excited to read this. I've heard that it's a good time. I borrowed from my mom, more likely stole from my mom, The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I borrowed this over Christmas break. I plan on doing a Teen Kingfisher reading blog, and so I definitely want to get to that sooner than later. Then I also got The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. I read her newest book, The Book of Cold Cases, and loved it. I have The Sundown Motel and I haven't read that yet. I was planning on doing a reading blog where I read her other books because I loved The Book of Cold Cases, so I figured might as well get this. I got this in the 5 for 5 deal. I also picked up in that 5 for 5 deal The Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cook. Honestly, I picked it up primarily because of the title, but I have heard that this is good. I know somebody that I know read it for a book club and really enjoyed it. I'm blanking on who right now, but I'm excited to get to this nonetheless. Then I also got as a present, this was from the Haley Hughes, her Patreon book club. We did like we did a book exchange, and I got The Shuddering by Anya Allborn, and I also got from that person, let me grab the other one, Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. So this one is a werewolf one. A girl like gets attacked by a werewolf and starts turning into a werewolf. I'm very excited to read this. It's by the woman that wrote Cackle, which actually I stole Cackle from my mom over Christmas break too, so that's another book that I forgot to grab. But this one is The Shuddering. This is a creature monster one, and so I'm very excited to get to that. I haven't read any Anya Allborn yet, so I'm excited to hopefully get to this soon. Then for myself, with a gift card I got from a student at school, I bought Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I've been wanting to read this. This is actually reading Riley's Midnight Society's book club pick for January, so it's the perfect timing to get to this. I'm very excited to get to this, and I love the cover, and I just hope that it is everything I hope and dream it will be. And the last gift that I got from my mother-in-law over Christmas is A Sliver of Darkness by C.J. Tudor. It is basically a bunch of short horror stories, and so I'm very excited for that. Like I said, she picked it because of the cover, and the cover is stunning, and it has a bunch of short stories. I am so excited because I like C.J. Tudor's writing a lot. And the last book that I got from Book of the Month for December is All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. She is the author of A Flicker in the Dark, which I read in November and absolutely enjoyed, so I cannot wait to pick this one up, hopefully sooner than later, because I really, really enjoyed it, so I'm sure I'm going to like this one as well. And the last book in my haul that I picked up at the beginning of December to read for Gabby's book club, which was in November, because I'm always a month behind, is Jackal by Erin E. Adams. I just love this cover. I think it is gorgeous. I cannot wait to read this book soon. I am excited, even though apparently she hated it, but Bree from Locked Booktition loved it, and so I'm just gonna have to see which side of the fence I lay on with that, but it's a beautiful cover nonetheless. And those are all of the books that I got over Christmas and December. Like I said, it is a lot of books, and I'm so excited to add them to my overflowing shelves. Where am I gonna put them? Don't know, but now I can put them away, and I'm really glad that I finally filmed this. So I will see you guys in a video very, very soon. Bye!